in both areas where there's this dire need and also where in past generations we're seen as like a last resort, it's not a cure in either camps. And it's not a relationship replacement by any means.
In school, what do we say is the number one predictor of therapeutic relationship? The drill it in their heads from day one is it's a relationship. Sure. But it's like, well, if this is the biggest predictor, then shouldn't we kind of spend most of our time on that part?
Well, and in the agency that I work for, we are very DBT, CBT focused just because of the field that we're working in.
Evidence-based.
Yeah. But in individual counseling, I just got to be there with them and support them in their issues, things that they're willing to talk about more personally in an individual session than they are in a group. And I think that was something that I really struggled with early on, was like, I need to like continue with this learning. They need to have all these competency levels like checked off before I can graduate them. And just developing the relationship was something that I really needed to just be okay with.
So we chatted about a few different modalities, and we can identify, I think, counseling look different from different modalities, different clientele. However, if you just have a general statement that covers all of it, what would you say counseling is not?
Counseling is not a free-for-all. I think there's just like this, I think there's lots of opportunities to collaborate with clients, to explore new things, like new theories, whatever, things that you necessarily weren't initially trained on. But it's not an opportunity just for clinicians to go in and just basically experiment on a counseling situation.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm so fickle.
To, like, I guess, develop their own expertise or see if something does or doesn't work. It also is a place where clients should come in and be purposeful, which is why I'm saying it's also not a free-for-all for them as well. To be able to do work and to come in and be willing to engage in maybe what a clinician, yes, adjusting for a client, but as clinicians, we have certain modalities that we're like most comfortable with. And we don't always provide the correct services for every client, which is why we need to have referral lists.
You can flesh out a little bit more a free-for-all?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, and just being like, it's not, we should be trained. I think there's just, especially in Colorado and what my school has emphasized.
You don't need to be anything to be a counselor in Colorado.
You really don't. We were kind of
maybe a high school degree, I think, is it?
Well,
you can be a registered
psychotherapist. Yeah, you have to take a test essentially. So really doing your due diligence as a client to research your therapist, and you might be paying more money for that, but honestly, it is for your good.
Yeah.
And just being there. So not a free-for-all, meaning you actually need to be trained in the field that you are working with in your client.
Gotcha.
So, like, yeah.
Okay. I got that.
You got
sense.
that?
Yep.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Sometimes I don't these days.
Especially at the end of school.
Grad school, forgetting things all the time. It's ridiculous.
Something I think counseling is not, it's sad that we actually have to say this, but it's not a buddy referral program. By that I mean the clients are not our buddies. We do develop relationships with them. Countertransference is a real thing. It's not always bad. We just manage it and we don't just let it go hog wild, right? I have worked with interns, with staff who are basically getting their connection fixed through counseling.
Yeah.
It can mirror a friendship at times, the way the interactions look, but at the core it's not a friendship. And the reason is because if it is, then the most important thing is the friendship, maybe not the growth, so you're not going to challenge as much, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell them the things that hard things to tell them, or go to the hard places because you want them to like you.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's not a friendship.
And you're saying challenge from both the client side and the counselor side.
Yeah.
As counselors, we also need to be careful of where we're at and how we're viewing our clients.
Yep.
Of not crossing boundaries into that dual relationship. Or, I mean, at that point, you're not even a dual relationship because you're not.
It's not dual, it's just one.
You're just a friend.
You're just buddies.
Somebody's paying you
Yeah.
to hang out.
Yeah. And counseling is not a free counseling tool for your families.
No.
No one's ever actually hit me up for that, I'm just saying. Family who's watching.
We'll,
No comment?
No comment.
I will say, I'll be, like, if I'm already your friend or I'm a family member, it's like, I have a few things, some knowledge stuff, and we can talk, but I'm not, it's not therapy, it's completely different.
I was talking with somebody. Yeah, exactly. I was talking with somebody about this because I've been asked to play the counselor in a position and in a family dynamic, and it almost was a way for them to ask me to step into a different role. They were like asking me to be somebody who I wasn't.
Well, the good part, if someone does try to put you in that position, you realize that you're not a therapist, so you don't have to say, well, I'm not sure this is a good fit. You can say, what is wrong with you? Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Because they're family.
Totally.
You can be a little bit more real with them.
Yeah.
It's a benefit.
I've definitely said no, so it's just the way it goes.
All right, so some scenarios.
Okay.
Client who, for the first, once a week they would meet, and like for the first month, so like 4 sessions, she would come in, say a couple words, and just lose it and just cry, and like heavy, deep crying, laid on the couch and just cried for the hour.
Wow.
And then when the hour was up, she said, thank you, I don't have any place to do this, and then just left. And then after the 4 times, they're actually able to kind of do some work after that. Is that counseling? Is that not counseling?
I think as a clinician, I would be like, just, what's my role in this? You can cry
Yeah.
in my office. But part of counseling is offering a safe place. And so I think part of that, I'm like, okay, if that's what the client needed, then that's fine. I think also there needs to be some work done in that. So after you said that at the 4th session, some stuff actually started to come about, that for me felt a little bit better. But if you are there purely to offer a safe place for somebody, and where the lines are not being crossed in like the duality or like the friendship piece, I think there is a place for that. On the flip side, if it went on for too long, it would need to come to a close.
Yeah. So
are you on a different end of the spectrum?
No, I'm with you. Because there's no answers really here.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. Because this stuff is
counseling.
Yeah.
When do we live in the black and white?
I know, right?
Type A personality doesn't really fit into this world.
Yeah, these are conversations. There's no real answers. You may agree on stuff, but that's what this is. It's a space to just chat about some of this where I feel like in school I didn't have a ton of space to talk about it. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm in the same with you. Counseling is to provide a service for somebody, things that they need. And, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
Just not, I mean, think of it conceptually. If they have nowhere else in their life, their home, that they can just cry and be cathartic and get this out, that's Maslow's bottom right there. It only makes sense to me that now we start to build on it. It's like, well, you don't have anywhere else outside of here where you have the space. How can we work on that? So another scenario, let's say you're working with somebody having a lot of high symptoms of psychosis, paranoia. They sit down and they just start going in these tangential circles, talking about aliens, their mom isn't their mom, that they were put into their mom's uterus, and like just kind of bizarre things just going all over the place tangentially. You try to interject and like they just kind of bowl you over and just keep rambling. How could that be counseling, and how could it not be counseling?
Definitely depends on their diagnosis. If there's maybe potential need for medication to calm the situation, which I cannot do on my level of
pharmaceuticals are great interventions at times.
Exactly. But there might need to be a referral that needs to be made, which honestly right there is therapy. I would have a hard time seeing that as being therapy. There's not a lot you can say in those situations that actually, like, they're not making sense, but I'm also not making sense.
When I first started where I'm at now, I struggled and still struggle at times. And I struggled like, this isn't even a counseling. I'm not doing anything for them. I know they have an injection or they don't take their meds like they want to, or I know the shot cycle is ending, blah, blah, blah. However, through supervision and my immediate boss really helped to actually see the puzzle within that, what we would see as crazy madness, right? Yeah. If you listen long enough and you get to know the patterns of the person, you see a pattern emerge in their cycles when they're talking. And through listening to it, every random thought that he shared had something to do with not having control. He didn't have any control over what he did and didn't want to do. So when I realized that, I actually mentioned, sounds like you just don't have a lot of control in your life. When I just named what he was feeling, the pressure went way down. And but through the supervision, I said, there's things going on there if you look at it. And it was like, whoa.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll wrap it up for the day.
Cool.
Unless you have anything else?
No.
Well, cheers. Thanks for being on the show.
It was awesome.
Gentry will be back on another time before she moves out. So remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you later. Later.
Bye.